Have you guys heard of the term black fatigue?
Mm-hmm.
You guys know what that means?
Since the last time you came, that's become a thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's just become a recent thing.
And do you know what it means?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to ask that.
White people are 12 times as likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. I'm just going to shoot you straight. It's not even close.
Where?
Across the country.
Ain't nobody coming after you. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody tripping on you. And but these people in just as scared as the other folks.
They are if they get on a bus.
Not necessarily.
They are if they get on a train.
That lady wasn't in danger because that man was black. That lady was in danger because that man was crazy.
Nope.
Whenever we want to ask for equality and fairness, it's a problem. So white America.
So it's been several $1 trillion. When is it enough?
Where's the bird?
No.
Where's the bird?
You're not
stopping white America from doing anything.
You know what? The
they
bird
wanna
just
do.
burned down $4 billion worth of cities and
bird ain't burned
60,000
down.
assaults.
No.
There's 3 times to 4 times as much homework than the black kid, and the white kid does 2 to 3. Why?
Because it's culturally, it's conditioned.
Exactly.
So why is it better parenting from Asians than white parents? Why?
You said what?
Well, we're having real talk. Why do young black men fight in packs? You have young white people who are getting more and more mad. I'm just telling you the truth.
What they mad?
And they have the guns. They're mad because this thing. Here's why. Here's why. They go, look, I'm 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person than you are a white person. And you go, well, that doesn't count. They go, look, my dad's business got burned down.
Yeah.
And where?
My city got burned down. I've been accused of being a racist, even though I'm not. And I'm looking at this right now, and I'm not allowed to have an opinion. And I can't go into certain neighborhoods because I get my ass kicked. And then you just say, yeah, but you've had systemic power. That is a surefire way to breed racism.
Look at the evidence. When whites were at their worst, we were at our best. As I said, in 1930 to 1940, when segregation and racism was enshrined in law, blacks had the highest marriage rate of any group in society. When we refused access to hotels, we built our own hotels, financed by our own means. We closed the education gap in the South between 1920 and 1940. How do we do it? Julius Rosenwald, the CEO of Sears, came together with Booker T. Washington, and he put up $4 million. The black community matched it with $4.8 million. We built 5,000 schools to teach ex-slaves how to read and write.
And I turn up to another level. We gon' give him all the praise, cause it ain't nobody better. We gon' turn up to another level. And we gon' give him all the praise, cause it ain't nobody better. Can't help myself, I can't help myself. When I get to praising up in this place, I lose my breath. Why they party? I'm in here grinding. Money I'm stacking. Why they rock diamonds? I can't relate to them, ain't much in common. I set a goal for me 2 or 3 commas. 7 figures, 8 figures to 9 figures. On a slow pace to get rich quick. Same time we just think different. Cause when you make it, it hit different.
What it do, baby? It's your partner Dale back in the saddle again for another edition of the Counter Move podcast here on Thursday evening, guys. Man, thanks for coming and rocking with your partner, man. You know I'm gonna ask up front, guys. You can do me a big favor, guys. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. This helps with the algorithm, no matter what platform that you're on, guys. And if there's a little bell on the platform that you're choosing to watch your partner on, click on that thing so when your partner come live, come kick it with your man's them. So if you guys could like, share, and subscribe, guys, so I can keep giving you some good content, man. So, guys, man, this is going to be a really good one, guys. And I think you're going to like it a lot. Now, I have been talking the past couple weeks about a topic, guys, a topic. And the topic was around racism, right? Steven Crowder did a couple series of him going to barbershops and having really good conversations with the African American community. And he went to the place to where we all will go and get it in. All right. And so this was pretty cool. Now, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of do something a little different, because you saw this debate between Steven Crowder and one of his producers and a room full of brothers there. it was good conversation. Nothing bad at all. Period. You saw some tension there, which was good, some healthy tension, right? But other than that, it was a great conversation. But there was also a counter argument that someone else brought in that was not in that discussion. So I wanted to talk about something. It is, does systematic racism exist or not? Right? So we're going to listen a little bit more to this, guys, and I'm going to give them a commentary. Then I'm going to bring in a civil rights activist. And some of you guys may know him or you may not know him, but he's going to give a totally different perspective on the Black community as well as how we can progress forward, right? And the good thing about this gentleman, he was born in 1930. So he has real world experience on this exact topic. He was born during the Great Depression. All right. So, but let's go back real quickly, guys, and talk about stuff. And let me back up. This gentleman's we're going to talk about reparations as well. And this gentleman is going to give a totally different perspective on reparations that I have not heard before. And I thought it'd be wise for us to kind of hear both sides, which is, does racism exist or does it not exist? And at the end, we're going to talk about solutions for the Black community. All right. This is called the Accountable Podcast for a reason. So bring your pens and pads. And if you could, comment below, guys. Comment below. Let me know what you think about it, guys. Let me know if this is pretty cool. If it's cool. I see you, big dog. I see you, man. I see you, big dog. I see Alonzo. No, it's not Dick Gregory. No, it's not. But let's dive in this real quickly, guys. Real quick. And I think you're going to like it. Let's get it in. Here we go. Let's go.
What I said earlier, and you listen, is when you have a young white person going, okay, why is this happening? And people go, Black Lives Matter. And they go, well, hold on a second. I have an opinion on Black Lives Matter. They go, well, sit down, shut up. Okay, now silence is violence. And that kid goes, well, what do I do? By the way, you're on the hook for reparations, even though his father, his grandfather, his great-great-grandfather didn't own a slave, and he's still 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person the other way around.
Wow.
You're going to. What I'm saying is society is going to create a generation of racists. What do you say to that young white kid? What do you?
So that is a phenomenal question by Steven Crowder. He's given a great perspective from the white perspective on what's going on. What he has just described is accurate. I know because of the fact that when I ran for public office, the constituents that were voting for me asked these exact same questions. And I would get, Liddell, I'm not racist. How do I respond to this? And I said, oh, wow, this is real. This is real. So, guys, this is actually, but he's not making this up. Let's see how the brothers respond. Here we go.
Say to him,
Stop watching. Stay off of TikTok.
Stop reading stats.
Stop paying attention to what these talking heads are saying, because they're leading you down the wrong path. They're leading you down a path of paranoia and conspiracy theory.
What if their interactions with black people in general are quite negative?
So give the same thing in reverse. What about black people who've had continuous, not only historical, but personal experiences where they've been at the wrong end of white people?
Here's the thing. I'll tell you.
And then we get told that those stories are invalid.
No, you're not.
Yes, we do.
You're not.
I've been personally told my story was invalid.
I'll give you an example. And by the way, the only thing that keeps my heart protected from racism, by the way, the only thing that protects me from not wanting to go out and kill the person who shot Charlie Kirk, because by the way, there are two people on earth who know what it's like to sit in that chair. Me and him. And I just did it at SMU and had to have entire bulletproof glass and an army to go in and have conversations, right? So I'm a little bit pissed off about it. Also, people have tried to take my life many times. So I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy for anyone, white or black, saying, oh, must be, yeah. You ever have someone show up at your house? You ever have someone show up at your house when your kids are sleeping with weapons being swatted? Like, we've been living through this for a long time and told you don't know what it's like. I will say this, my faith is what has protected me. My faith is what has protected my heart from becoming racist, but I've had a lot of negative interactions. That's why I'm sitting here. We'll have to edit this because just the word. By the way, if you want a relaxing vacation, stay home. Don't go to. I know, but my kids love it. So I go there, okay? And I'll tell you this. You have like this magic wand thing, you run around the hotel and it opens up chests. Wow. And I'm sitting there, I'm sunken eye, and there was a black guy next to me, obviously a dad with like his daughter and his son. And I just kind of looked at him, we looked at each other in the face like, yeah, we know. This is exhausting. And I know we have a lot in common because his wife or woman is probably in the room because he's there with his kids by himself. Yeah. I was too. But then we were there at the water slides. My kids are 3. And this happened not once, but about 4 or 5 times, and it happened 3 times with one black kid who was about 5 or 6. Shoved my son out of the way to get on the water slide. Okay? My son did nothing. Shoved him out of the way a second time, came back. My son's 2, 3 years, which is a big deal at that point. And then at one point I look over, Mom, no Dad. And I just go like, hey, he's being aggressive. Okay, comes back the 3rd time. I go, hey, hold on, you have to wait in line. You know what my son said? My son said, well, Daddy, you know what, maybe he's in a real hurry. We should let him go. That was a different interaction. That kid kept doing it to every other and it wasn't the only one. And you know why? Because I've taught my kid, hey, you're going to have people who look different from you, and it doesn't matter, you treat them well. That kid wasn't. And I'm telling you, along with the empirical, anecdotally, if you have a young white person who has these interactions on a regular basis, and I'd be lying to you if I said they were uncommon, while being told they need to shut up because of systemic discrimination, you're going to create a generation of racists.
I get it.
But that child was...
What he just said is correct, because you're setting an environment to where debate and exchange cannot exist, right? You are creating a volatile environment. So what Stephen is actually describing is actually correct, right? So let's see how the brothers respond to this, all right?
Poorly parented too.
I agree. We're running all the time.
Hey Steve, that child was poorly parented. There's no way in the world his mother shouldn't have intervened and whipped his the first time.
No, the dad did nothing, Steve.
The dad wasn't there.
There was no dad. That's what I said.
Mom, no dad.
No, I say because it's not a race thing. The dad, him and I looked and we're like, dude, I get it, right? We're both tired. But here, this kid, I don't know, maybe the dad wasn't there. His mom didn't, and he shoved my son out of the way 3 times.
But poor parenting though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
We run into that all the time.
That's what I was about to say. It's poor parenting everywhere. And that creates individuals that grow up to be grown up individuals.
Let me give you one.
And some of those individuals end up getting positions of power.
Well, see, can I jump up one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Actually, like,
Okay, here we
because
go.
I like the thing about choices.
Producer.
And you were talking about the federal
By the
department.
way, the whitest
I'm sorry. But I'm sorry. Like, there's a couple things. You said you ended up in, and so you don't have to worry about things that people in South.
No, I said I've been afforded some things.
Afforded.
Yeah.
Why? How are you afforded that? You just happen to land
No,
here.
I sacrificed some things to live in.
Correct.
Right.
You made good choices.
I made choices. I made choices.
And we talk about educational standards.
But I also had opportunities available to me too that some people didn't have.
Of course, everyone has a different lot for sure.
Right.
Sure.
But you were talking about educational standards. Why is it that the Asian kid does 3 times to 4 times as much homework than the black kid, and the white kid does 2 to 3? Why?
Because it's culturally, it's conditioned.
Exactly.
So why is it better parenting from Asians than white parents? Why?
You said what?
Why is there better parenting? What he's trying to say is, you said bad parenting.
Well, I said.
So why is there better parenting from Asians and white parents?
Yeah, culturally, the educational mindset, culturally, when among Asians, they're taught from young that's primary.
Sure.
Over anything else, entertainment,
Also obeying the law.
how you dress, none of that matters.
And it's
Up here matters.
right,
Yeah,
and they're also
I agree.
about 3 to 4 times more likely to have a father in the household than a black.
That too. That too.
Why is this disproportionately affecting this one community? Because I have a question, because I actually have, like, my uncle, my aunt's married to a black dude, one of the most accomplishment of all time. Helicopter pilot, National Park Ranger, served his country, has a Ferrari in the driveway, right? He wears, crew socks, so we can forgive him for some things. But my whole life I've had this great black role model in my life. But then I try to ask questions, and I have a hard time asking him because I don't want to upset that relationship.
You're being responsible with your work.
So I want to ask now,
It doesn't help that you look like you're in the Third Reich.
I'm not even going to take the hat off. But then if you talk about there's no power. Well, we were talking about Charlotte, and you said the black activist judge. Well, in Charlotte, it's not just the black activist judge. It's the DA that's black that instituted those policies. It's a black mayor. So could we at least agree, before the Civil Rights Movement and now, do blacks have more or less institutional power?
There's been some bad and some good that came
We have
along
less
with the Civil
institutional
Rights
power,
Movement.
but you know,
Before the Civil Rights
but you know what we don't have?
we're
As a
more.
community, we don't have the unity.
Well, here's the problem we have.
So the last thing I want to ask,
I want to ask you a question before you say the last thing you want to
It
ask.
kind of all throws together, and I'll just let you go.
Okay, go ahead.
Why was the black community one of the fastest growing economic demographics in the country? Why were there tons of fathers in the household? Black people were becoming great role models and integrating into society naturally. and now it's substantially worse.
You know why it's
than
worse?
it was before Martin Luther King.
You know why it's worse?
Yeah.
Because of the fact that and I'm gonna say this openly because I can't get into the specifics, but I work for an entity that I was flabbergasted to learn this, right? And what we do is we provide Medicaid, right? And this is a former campaign I worked on, and I was awestruck when I would have white females that would call, and they would call on behalf of their entire family, which included the husband, right? So many people say, well, the welfare queen is having more children because she gets more food stamps. Well, here's how it really works, and I can tell you this from firsthand knowledge, right? Let's say I've got a household of a wife and a husband, and I've got 4 kids. That household can earn up to $6,900, right? And here's what happens. Even if the husband is in the household, many times they're self-employed. So, of course, you can skew the numbers any way you want. And you and your family will continue to get full health care. A black mother is always told that if there's a man in the house, number one, then it's a no-go, okay? Look at the Section 8 Housing Authority. Now, here's what happened, and you want to know what happened, what caused
I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, what caused the problem in Black America.
Exactly right.
What caused the problem in Black America is the fact that when the father became absent in the home, right? When he became absent in the home, it left the mothers to bear the brunt. So to answer your question, do we have more influence in some areas? Perhaps, but ask yourself this. Do we have more influence economically? Because if you go back and you look, prior to the civil rights movement, let me tell you something right now. You had more black carpenters and tradesmen all over the place.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, that's right. But the problem is, again, if you agree with that, then you'll agree with the fact that if it had not been for the change in the systemic dynamics, that black men would still be in the home or what have you.
Right.
And the black family would still be doing it.
Federal government policy has not been instituted to help black people ever, but really to make them dependents of the state when they were doing just damn fine without the federal government.
Agree with that.
You want in more people's lives.
The only reason why
It's almost like reparations would be the same thing.
My question to that is, why is that a problem for white America? And we were already...
Because it's one country.
Because it's what?
We are one country, and the problems of one community...
We're not one country. We're an entity. We're a corporation. The United States is a corporation. It's not a country.
It certainly is. And with that attitude, we can never be a country. If that's the attitude that people have.
Because it's not a country. It was never built. It's written in the Constitution. It's a corporation.
That is definitely not written in the...
That is not written in the Constitution. That's just not true.
It's not a country. So what I'm saying is, when we were black people in our own communities, thriving, like you said, doing our own thing, why was that a problem for white America? We were doing our own thing. Why did y'all come and burn down Wall Street, Black Wall Street? We had our thing going. Why is it an issue when we have our own thing going and we're minding our business? White America comes in and figure out a reason to, that's wrong. Y'all are doing something wrong. That's not by the code. That's not by the rules.
No one here is trying to justify clear racist policies of the past or racism of the past. Of course that existed. No one was arguing that.
Here's the thing.
We're not arguing. I'm saying why is that
I'm just one thing. It sounds like you're saying that you would want racial segregation. Because you're
I don't
saying...
know what worse than segregation. We asked for equality. We didn't get that.
But you're saying your own community...
So, and I say this a lot when I'm having discussions and debates or on panels or going on podcasts. I hear from the black community a lot of the times is we asked for equality. Let me ask the black community a question. When has, in the context of oppress and oppressor, when has an oppressor ever gave equal rights to the oppressed? Let me ask that again. When has the oppressor ever gave equal rights to the oppressed? The answer to that question is never. Never. And it seems to be this discussion, it begins, a lot of times when it comes up to the African American community, it begins with slavery and ends with slavery or ends with Jim Crow. There is a isolated time frame that for some odd reason African American history is talked about. It's just between slavery and Jim Crow. Every single time. My question is why? We have other history we can talk about. Other history. So I'm very confused about why we only talk about certain histories. just a certain time frame, I would say, of history, and it's the traumatic time frame. Why? Could it be that this is a ruse? Not saying that it didn't happen. It did happen, but for the lion's share of the discussion just to be around that time frame of traumatic, a traumatic situation, that's a problem with me. We talk about no success at all, not one time. So now you may say, Dale, what other successes? I'm glad you actually asked. Now, let's bring in real quickly, guys, a gentleman that is, he is, well, let me see. Before I do that, nah, you know what? No, I'm, well, you know what? Let me go to the other video with Steven Crowder. This was part one, real quickly, guys, from the beginning, real quickly, so you can see what's going on, guys. And then what I do is we'll bring in our guest with some information concerning what's going on, guys. He's gonna give a different perspective. So again, we're talking about, does systematic racism exist? Okay, that's the question on the table. All right, and so you're having a good exchange between a white American and a black American. All right, let's get it in.
Make myself smaller, just to not, it's like, what is the crab that has the red under its claws? It's showing danger. So I don't wear red, because apparently that signifies poison. But yeah, no, there's all these body language experts now. You watching TV, and I'm like, this seems like horse shit. Like, he looks to the left, so you can tell he's lying.
Yeah, some of it is horse.
It's like, no, I saw him on camera. He killed his girlfriend with a butter dish. I don't give a shit what he says.
He took too long to say that answer. He had to think about it. No, he's thinking about what he wants to say.
Yeah.
He don't just spit shit out. He wants to think about what he's saying.
Last time we talked, we were kind of just, and the reason was just like, often you see in news, people just kind of siphon themselves off right into an echo chamber. And I thought it was good. We were just kind of able to see other perspectives. Where do you think the country is now? Like with that? Like,
is that an open question? Or?
Yeah, race relations between, because last time I wanted to get your perspective, and there's a perspective now in the white community. None of us are an ambassador for the entire community, but things have changed quite a bit the last year and a half. Temperatures have gone up. But what do you guys think? What do you think we are in the country?
I'd like to chime in on that.
Yeah.
I'm happy you asked that question. There are a lot of social and economic dynamics at play that have certainly gone, in my opinion, in the wrong direction. I don't think that people really understand the gravity of where we're headed. We are vastly sliding into an autocratic regime here. And absolutely. I'll give you several reasons. You see, in order to have, you can't have a one-dimensional approach when you're wanting to continue to lead from a global perspective, all right? What you see here today is an isolationism approach which has never worked in the past because we don't have an understanding of geography and history, all right?
I disagree with him on that one because past presidents have never had an America First agenda. It's been global first. Why do you think we have the most military bases on the planet? Why do we have so much money leaving the United States to go to other countries? More than, I would say more, but a lot of that money is just leaving the country. This is the first administration to where it's been America First. Obama didn't do it. Biden didn't do it. Bush didn't do it. Both Bushes didn't do it. Reagan somewhat did it. Right? Carter didn't do it. Nixon didn't do it. Almost all the presidents have been America last. So this is the first time that I've seen, and what history has shown, that it is America first. Not America last. So that's why I disagree with him on that one.
And I'll just simply close by saying, you got to understand something. The rest of the world is grossly infuriated with the way America has taken shape. And not only that, we're seeing our best opportunities.
And why are we concerned about other countries before our own country? My grandma would say, sweep around your own front door before you sweep around mine. So why do we care what other countries think about us being America first? I'm thoroughly confused by that. China is China first. Canada is Canada first. Right? Mexico is Mexico first. So we can't be America first? I don't understand.
To China, right? Look around you in the relationships they're fostering with everybody else, which includes Canada, Mexico, and they've even gone as far down into the Latin American corridor, fortifying their bases while we're still hollering that we're the greatest.
You talking about China, like in the Panama Canal?
Not just the Panama Canal. Let's pivot from the Panama Canal and let's look at the long-term strategy they have now, where they just signed an agreement with Mexico to build another canal bypassing the Panama Canal. And when you look at the whole transatlantic corridor, where you got now Brazil and Canada as well as Mexico trading, and they're stopping in Peru, where China has a huge presence at, circumventing completely the navigation, the use that comes with having to use the Panama Canal. So we'll avoid conflict with America and just simply go around America is what's happening here.
Talking about China?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to agree with the first part, autocratic. I think China needs to be dealt with, and this is the first time we are. I'm Canadian. Well, I was raised in Canada. Canada sucks. Canada is a dog shit country. Canada, the kind of shit we're doing, you can't do this in Canada. If you say something too offensive or I say something too offensive, you will be jailed in Canada. Yes. That's the thing. Yeah. So I'm fine with the U.S. being the best country. I came here from Canada because, I have friends who were arrested. I had a friend, stand-up comic, was fined for telling a joke. I don't think people realize how good we have it here in this country compared to other countries.
But that's the painstaking part about it all, is the fact that, I've always been one to say, and I believe this firmly, freedom is not a right. It's a privilege until you wake up the next morning and find out you don't have it anymore.
Yeah. It also comes with duties.
That's what I was about to say. It also comes with responsibilities, because while we free to speak and say what we want, and I went to Montreal a few months ago, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bet you saw a lot of on.
So guys, let's shoot the breeze a little bit. Let's go a little bit.
You go into a neighborhood that's largely black, they're gonna get the shit kicked out of them. And they're being blamed for something that supposedly their racist forefather did that they have nothing to do with. You think we're ever going to have unity? This is the problem. Unity, if let's say your dad's a or your grandfather's a and you walk up and you slap his teenager, you now have made that person hate you for life. And that's what I'm seeing with not even my generation. Younger people are going, I had nothing to do with this shit. They came up during the riots. They've come up under DEI, and they're seeing a 12-time murder rate, skyrocketing crime, and any proposals they make not holding institutional power shut down as racist.
Now, why was DEI even instituted in the first place? Because for the majority of time that black people have been in this country and been free, we've been denied so much. Somebody somewhere had to put some things in place to provide access of some kind.
If you believe that, that's fine, but you can't tell that young white kid who had nothing to do with it that he should just sit down and take it.
But guys, DEI and affirmative action did not work for the African American community. It seems to be what I'm hearing from the brother's side is whenever there's an issue, we look to the government to solve it. But it's the very government which you are complaining about that caused the issue. I'm confused. Why do we keep going back to in that context, where that ideology believes that the government is not so good? Why do we keep going back to the same people that they're saying, right? It's oppressing them. I'm confused. And then you blame the white man. Now don't get it twisted. You have some not too wise white individuals. You have some not too wise black individuals. It is what it is. But at the exact same time, I'm failing to see how the system itself, although it is a white-based system, it is. I gotta be honest. This whole system was built by our white counterparts. Yes, but at the exact same time, we currently have black governors, black senators, a black president, right? A black vice president. Right? A black attorney general, a black state attorney general, black governors, black mayors, black city councilmen, black sheriffs, black constables, black county judges, black federal judges, black state judges. So what I'm saying is we've been able to elevate ourselves within this system and have some form of success. That is a fact. That is a fact. but I can't rock with it's the white man. I can't do that. It doesn't make sense to me at all. Now, they mentioned DEI as well as affirmative action. As I said before, those programs did nothing for the African American community. Nothing at all. So I got to ask the question, if we're going to be honest, was it truly made for black people? Was it? If the fruits that are yielding from these two policies are not helping the black community, which is what you said it was made for, was it truly made for black people? This is my question. That's my question. Now, let's bring in somebody else real quickly. All right? Somebody else real quickly that's going to give a different perspective. All right? Some of you guys may know this man. You may not know him at all. But the he believes it is not a race problem. He believes that. He believes that. And he's going to present facts to back it up. He's going to tell you the real reason why black people are struggling. That's what he's going to describe. So let's bring in him in, guys, real quickly. Some of you guys may know him. You may not know him at all, but it is what it is. You're going to get a nice little dose of him today. He was born, guys, in the 1930s. This is Bob Woodward. He was born during the Great Depression. So it's not book knowledge. This is lived experience, coupled with book knowledge. He's born during the Great Depression. And watch how he outlays this thing out. And watch what he says. Let's get into it.
It is not a race problem in America.
When you say that, a lot of people would disagree with you, and they would say, "How could you say that? You know, maybe you're maybe it wasn't back then, but you don't know the America today. You know, you don't know what's going on with the challenges they're facing and the level of racism they're experiencing today in the marketplace because maybe you are disconnected, kind of like how you were when you thought everybody was black until you joined the Army and you realized that your unit only 8 were black. What do you say to the people that literally 100% disagree with you and they say there is racism today? It is a challenging time today. What do you say to them?
I say, look at the evidence. Look at the evidence. You know, a lot of people are like the farmer that came to the creek when it was like coming, it was 3 feet high and moving at about 20 miles an hour, and he forced the mule in and they were swept down the creek. A year later, he comes to the same crossing. This time it's only 6 inches. The mule refuses to go in because the mule had good memory but poor judgment. Conditions were not like they were back in segregation when I was locked up twice in Mississippi. The conditions have changed, but many of us have. But again, look at the evidence. When whites were at their worst, we were at our best.
Whoa.
As I said, in 1930 to 1940, when segregation and racism was enshrined in law, blacks had the highest marriage rate of any group in society. Elderly people could walk safely in those communities without fear.
So get this. Listen to what he just said. When racism was enshrined into law, black people had the highest marital rates, higher than their white counterparts. Huh? Wow, let's keep going.
Wow.
Of being assaulted by their grandchildren.
Okay.
So let's look at the evidence.
Yeah.
When we refused access to hotels, we built our own hotels, financed by our own means. The Wallahaji in Atlanta, the Carver and Calvert Hotel in Florida, the St. Charles in Chicago, the St. Teresa in New York. I could go on and on. When we were
So he's naming hotels that when we were isolated out of white hotels back in the day, we built our own with our own means. What? Huh?
denied access to colleges, we built our own.
Own colleges.
And in fact, our small business formation rate was higher than whites in the 20s, and that really determines any group's participation in the economy. It is not what government does for you or what white people do. In fact, I think those who continue to push this race agenda are Eurocentric. They assume that the destiny of blacks is determined by what white people do. That has never been the case.
Wow.
We closed the education gap in the South between 1920 and 1940. How do we do it? Julius Rosenwald, the CEO of Sears, came together with Booker T. Washington, and he put up $4 million. The black community matched it with $4.8 million. We built 5,000 schools to teach ex-slaves how to read and write.
Wow.
And as a consequence of that study, that in between 1920 and 1940, the education gap in the South between whites and blacks was 3 years, 8th grade for whites, 5th grade for blacks. Within 20 years, that gap closed within 6 months.
Wow.
There were 5 high schools at the turn of the century in New York, Baltimore, Washington, Atlanta, and New Orleans. They had used textbooks, overcrowded classrooms, half the budgets of white schools. But every one of those schools out-tested every white school in those cities.
Wow.
If we were able to close the education gap between 1920 and 1940 through self-determination and hard work, if we were able to out-test white schools in those cities, then the question is, in those same schools today in Baltimore, for instance, where they're run by blacks, not a single student could read at grade level or perform at grade level. And so how can you say that it is racism that is the cause of the present day challenges?
Wow.
When under segregation, we achieved. One other example we gave from our...
So hold on. He's saying that. I loved the comparison he gave today than back then. And he used back then when we were segregated, right? When there was racist laws, right? Per state, right? How we flourished during those times. So more segregation, we flourished. We outperformed. Less segregation today, more technology, we're complaining? How does that make sense? And we have access to more capital, more information, more technology? I'm confused. How did we flourish more as a people group within segregation than without it? How? Make that make sense. And it's in cities that we actually run. Baltimore, that's a black ran city. Huh?
On our studies, in 1943, blacks were prohibited from being naval officers. Eleanor Roosevelt was persuaded her husband to train them, so they selected 16 black college-educated men for training, the Naval Academy, not the Academy, Naval Training Center. The Navy says, aha, we're going to give these black cadets in 8 weeks what we give white cadets in 16, so they wash out. When these brothers found out what the deal was, they covered the windows in their barracks and stayed up all night and studied. And when they were tested, they scored in the 90th percentile.
Wow.
Wow.
So then they said, well, they cheated. So they tested them individually. They scored in the 93rd percentile.
Wow.
13 of them eventually.
Unbelievable.
13 of them eventually became naval officers. They call them the Golden 13.
Wow.
You can look
Google
it up.
this?
That test, the test scores today has never been bettered. So, again, I respond to people with evidence.
So again, he's given a phenomenal example and comparison with when we were segregated, how we flourished as a people group. We were more determined. Flourished means we were more determined. Then today, we're complaining. Not all of us, but we're complaining. I mean, are you hearing this? Like, where is this history at? We should be talking about this history. partnering up with the CEO of Sears Roebuck and building 5,000 schools and bringing our own money to the table, building our own hotels when we isolated out, building our own schools, colleges. I'm confused. Like where? So it seemed like with more persecution, we flourished. We were more determined. But with less friction, we complaining? I'm confused. Help me understand. Alonzo says, he said, during those times, we had no choice but to rely on ourselves. Booker T stated we would eventually integrate, but not until they had no choice but to want us. Love that. He says, ironically, during Jim Crow, they had something called Ends Day, where they opened trade to blacks and went into the black due to our dollars. So in other words, we brought more success to those businesses because of our dollar. My word, let's keep going. He ain't done.
Incarceration rates of blacks from the turn of the century up to the 60s was under 25%.
Incarceration was under 25%.
Under 25%.
Where are we at today?
It shot up to I think it was like 90,000 blacks were in jail in 1960. That went up to 900,000 over the next 30 years.
Wow.
Why do you think that is? What happened? What changed?
In our studies, red, white, and black, we looked at the experiences. We looked at 6 major plantations to find out what the state of marriage was of slaves. 75% of those slaves had a man and woman raising children. The nuclear family continued to prosper in the face of segregation for 100 years. But all of that changed in the 60s with the poverty programs.
Lyndon Johnson?
Yes. Johnson came in, and what happened was the social scientists who were pushing socialism on America, Cloud and Piven at Columbia, said if you disconnect work from income, then school dropout rates will increase, drug addiction, all of those things. And so what the government did was offer welfare as an alternative to a man in the house. We relaxed the rules. We separated work from income, and as a consequence, that was supported by the Black Power movement. Also, the women's movement was anti-man. And so you had a combination of social policy, but policy alone wouldn't have done it. The federal government enticed welfare to blacks to go on welfare. Blacks' welfare used to be stigmatized in the black community.
It was.
But the federal government began to interpret it as reparations. And as entitlements. They withdrew any requirement that you should tell the paternity of the father, paternity in cases of pregnancy. All of these, so that more blacks came into the welfare system in the first 5 years of the 70s. Then millions flooded into the system at a time when the unemployment rate was under 4%.
Wow.
So it is a combination of social policies plus the civil rights movement morphed into a race grievance industry.
Yes, it was.
And many of those civil rights leaders became mayors and elected to public office.
They pushed it.
Where and we spent $22 trillion during that period on programs to aid the poor. Where 70 cents of every dollar went not to the poor, but those who served the poor.
What percentage of it?
70%.
70% of the $22 trillion went to the people that served the poor.
They asked which problems are fundable, not which problems are solvable. In other words, a friend of mine described it this way. He's having a cabin built in Wisconsin. His electrician is a drunk, and the carpenter is has one leg. Their value to him is their skill. But if he was a disabilities director, their value to him would only be the disability. So we have a situation where we have really created a commodity out of poverty.
And by the way, when you're saying these numbers, what it makes
he's giving a master class on this, guys. A master class, making a whole industry out of poverty, monetizing poverty. Monetized it. If we can affect the people group so much to where we force the head out of the home, we can shape how they function to where, as LBJ says, I'll have these ends voting for us for 200 years. 93% of all black people vote Democrat. No matter what. LBJ was a Democrat. I believe the Civil Rights Movement, the Civil Rights Act was the worst bill for black folks ever. Trash. Horrid. Whoever negotiated that deal needs to be fired. Needs to be disowned. That deal was terrible. Horrid. Not based on the Dell's opinion. Look at the fruits. Look at it. How has it progressed at the black people's agenda forward? If people said it has, so why are we talking about we shall overcome then? Still. Now, let's go back real fast, y'all, real quickly, to a topic that I want to talk about, guys, real quickly. Reparations. Reparations, guys. All right, because he mentioned reparations. Let's get into it real quickly, guys. Reparations. I'm going to go back to Crowder then real quickly on reparations, real quick. And then we're going to hear Bob talk about reparations in a different facet. But before we do that, guys, let's take a quick break because I gave you a lot of information. Let's get into it. Here we go. Still working 40+ hours a week and still broke. Inflation's outpacing your wages. Insurance is insane. And your side hustle just isn't cutting it. What if I told you there was a way for you to build income by leveraging and using the exact same technology that banks and big corporations currently use right now with no inventory and no tech skills needed? We've helped hundreds escape the paycheck-to-paycheck trap by sharing smarter services like lower cost healthcare, competitive auto and home insurance, better loan products, higher yield bank deposits, and even ways to cut energy costs, all in one place. Take this 30-second quiz to see if you qualify. Click on the link below or click on the link in my bio. All right, guys, let's get back to it real quickly, guys, and let's get on top of reparations. Here we go.
Highly impoverished. I've got to keep coming up with all kind of gimmicks to keep the foot traffic coming through the stores. Where nobody talks about that.
Well, what about the flip side of it?
What happens on the flip side?
What about the flip side of it? What about the fact that you have the government that has grants that they invest in black-owned businesses that don't happen for white people?
Let me ask you this, Steve. It's funny you.
Does that even it out?
But no. But here's
because that exists.
Here's something you keep saying. You say that these grants exist for black people, but let me ask you.
Okay, but my point is both sides of that coin, right?
Yeah,
okay. That exists for a reason. Why? What's the reason?
The reason is based on what he's saying. That's why it's an appropriate.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you use his example of the McDonald's, what would be the reason for relegating the black owners to the low income neighborhoods?
I don't know. I'm not able to verify that all that's factual. I know. Were you told you could only open here in nice?
Huh?
Were you told you could only open here in a nice?
Well, this is Steve's shop, but no.
Okay. My point is,
but see, you have to understand something. Before you answer that question, you have to understand something. There's a difference in McDonald's and what have you.
Yeah,
because the way that structure, the way that hierarchical structure runs, they will designate you certain areas of what have you that you will be awarded a location in. You just don't have the right to say, okay, I'm paying $1 million.
That's the same for everyone. That's the same for everyone. I know a guy. Well, he just died not too long ago. He had a bunch of which I don't know how they're still around. It's disgusting. But
neither do I.
It's awful. I have never had a good meal at but he had to be in certain too because they had to displace his franchise investment, right? That's part of it, where he was like, this one place is killing me, but as long as I get this spot, when I average out the 4 spots, okay, I can turn a profit. So this isn't unique to the black community. What is unique is investments from the federal government and state government into black-owned businesses to rectify it that white people don't get. So it's not enough. So what would be enough?
Because of historical injustices that have been done to impede black businesses.
So it's not enough
the
now,
why
but what
you
would
have
be
to
enough?
ask yourself, why would they do that? Why would they pay that?
What's the number?
Oh, because historically,
that's my point. What's the number, right? Public Department of Education, Great Society, Model Cities program, black businesses, Pell Grants, affirmative action, DEI. It's not enough. What's the number that's enough?
Once again, just like we said about the civil rights movement, about the education and all that, you can do certain things in the name of doing the right thing, but then you do it wrong. So
what's the number?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't personally have an answer to that question.
One moment, just one second. Would you agree that if a young person who has no connection to slavery whatsoever, you probably need a number for them? Otherwise, they're probably going to be pissed.
They didn't need a number for Ukraine. They paid them same taxes. They didn't need a number for how much
You're
we were going
talking
to pay.
about reparations to a young person, right? In the name of sins of forefathers. My point is, what's the number? Because the number now is trillions of dollars. I get it. The government screws everything up, and I will agree on that. Mm-hmm. What's the number? You're sitting down right now with a 22-year-old white kid.
Give my daughter $15 million and we'll call it square.
$15 million?
$15 million a piece. We'll call it square. That's for me and for them.
$15 million, okay.
$15 million. Look, since a lot of people don't care about their taxes, add an extra 2% to what you pay in taxes. How about that? 2%. That's a number.
2% for how long?
Let's see. How long it was?
So 2% only for white people who have a connection to slavery at their forefathers, right?
How long were we in slavery?
You'd end up with no money. You'd end up with zero money. You'd each end up with about $14.99.
You keep letting our people off the hook.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the government paying taxes. I'm not talking about just people who are responsible. Once again, I'm not responsible for anything happening in Ukraine, but I'm paying for it.
I agree.
So why should that rationale not transfer to this?
Because it's rationale.
It's not when the United States is the people who perpetrate.
Well, that's why I need to ask the number, because if you're talking about more than $15 per black person, you're talking about trillions of dollars.
Right, but if we're going to be a part of the same country, like Lane said, we're going to all be a part and members of the same country. Well, we have to take on what comes with that. What comes with that is historically, every time like Chris said earlier, every time black people have achieved en masse, it's been torn down. No. And then you get to a point where
you're talking about the riots,
Then you get to a point where you're like, I can mention there's several black communities that's under lakes. There's one that's under Central Park in New York. Like there's plenty. But my point is, then you get to a point where you say, okay, we're gonna do this in the interest of justice. But then redlining and all that stuff happens, and then the prison industrial complex, all of that stuff that happens that adds to the wrong of it. It gets mixed in.
I get
and
what
say,
you're saying.
Yeah, we tried, and you should just be happy with it.
Here's the problem. What you just said, it was the rhetoric and the reasoning behind catch and release, doing away with the three-strike policy. You point to New York. You got a black mayor and crime got worse.
Yeah.
Because he's a criminal.
And because you got 30 million people living in a
white guy before him. He was grabbing every giddy intern.
And probably the white guy that put him in his spot.
Okay, so it's worse. In other words, it's worse, right? Mm-hmm. Because of the prison industrial complex. That's
you see, even when you have a black mayor, Eric Adams, for New York, number one, they called him a criminal, which is not. Then number two, they said maybe a white person put him in power. Huh? So even with some semblance of success, elevating to the top office for the state of New York, which is probably the most powerful city in America, right? Is headed by a black mayor. We don't even give ourselves success for that. It's maybe a white person put him there. This is the thinking. It's the thinking.
That's why that guy was out 14 times.
But I'm saying that's also why you have less fathers. That's why you have less fathers in the home. So redlining and the prison industrial complex is the two main caveats to less fathers in the home.
We've done the opposite of the prison industrial complex. Violent offenders are being released into society and committing crime in record numbers right now.
And nonviolent offenders are being held on petty charges.
No, they're not.
I've personally done the numbers on
How did that guy get out after 14 times? George Floyd 9 times. Do you realize 11 times arrested is the average murderer?
And you got people in there for weed charges that's in there for...
It's not a thing. It's less than 0.5% of federal penitentiaries.
And that's the thing. When you tell somebody that personal knowledge don't matter because the stats matter more...
Correct.
He's not saying that the personal knowledge doesn't matter. What Stephen is saying is he's saying from a macro perspective, what you're making as a big situation because you have personal knowledge there. He said it's less than 0.5%. So he's saying from a macro perspective That's a small number. He's not discounting your personal experience there with your family, not at all. He's saying that's a moot point. That's all he's saying.
I personally know this. I know somebody right now that's in jail for small shit, but I know somebody else that did some big shit and they out.
Small, keep defining small. So he had a joint on him.
Selling weed.
He's in prison right now because he had
a joint, but a small amount. One time he got caught selling.
One time a small joint he was selling.
No,
let's talk about small things.
But
Let's
if you
talk
want
about
to,
it. What is it really?
That's what I'm saying. If you want to frame it into one time small joint, that's a straw man argument. I'm saying.
What is he in for?
I don't know how much he had, but it was.
And one time?
It wasn't. Yeah, it was one time.
He got caught one time selling
No, I don't
weed.
know. It wasn't his first time. No.
Okay, so he got caught multiple times.
Yeah.
And he was selling weed.
But every time wasn't the same thing.
Do you know how many people die from lace weed?
I don't.
You know about the fentanyl problem in this country?
Yeah, I do know about fentanyl.
You know that most people aren't trying to get fentanyl, right?
But
weed itself never killed anybody.
I'm about to say fentanyl ain't our thing.
No, what I'm saying is, do you realize why trafficking drugs is a problem? You said a little thing. Can I tell you that if I had a white friend who was caught trafficking drugs, and I don't think weed should be outlawed, by the way, it's bullshit. Just to be clear. But if I had a white friend who was arrested the umpteenth time for selling a brick of weed, I would go, yeah, that makes sense. We would expect it.
Not for weed.
Of course.
Now, they go into that discussion. I wanted to really focus on just the reparation side. That was entertaining as well also. But you see the brothers there are for reparations, and Stephen kept saying, hey, what is the number? And they gave a number, $50 million apiece, and pay 2% taxes. They just put it out of the air. Just put it out the air. That's what it is. Now, let's bring in Bob Woodward. Bob is going to give a different perspective, guys, on reparations. He actually went on Dr. Phil, right? Went on Dr. Phil, and they asked him questions about reparations. And his answer shocked everybody because this episode of Dr. Phil, it was pro reparations, pro Black being victims, and those that said that they didn't exist. And Bob was there. Watch how he unpacked his reparation thing. Here we go.
You say you don't support reparations. Why not?
Not everybody suffered equally. I mean, when you go into slavery, it's much more complex than all white people were the oppressors and Black people were the victims. If you dissect it, you will find there were about 3,700 free Blacks who owned 12,000 slaves.
Wow. Wow. Let's say that again. Let's say it again.
Black people were the victims. If you dissect it, you will find there were about 3,700 free Blacks who owned 12,000 slaves.
Wow. Black
slaves. The question is, do the descendants of those free Blacks who owned Black slaves, do they pay? Blacks really benefited more the first 100 years after slavery than we have in the last 50 years.
Wow.
I was born in 1937 during the Depression. Everyone in my small, low-income Black community, 98% of the households had a man and a woman raising children. Mm-hmm. Elderly people could walk safely in that community without fear of being assaulted by their grandchildren. Never heard a gunfire during that time. Never heard of a child being shot to death in the crib. But there are 50 children today who have been shot and killed in our cities. If you're talking about remedies, we've got to look beyond saying that every solution has to have a winner and a loser, that Blacks can only benefit if whites lose. We have to be defined more than just victims of oppression. When whites were at their worst, Blacks were at their best. When we were denied access to hotels, we built our own. We have to communicate to our people the history of how they achieved in the face of oppression. But if we continue to sit back and say all of the challenges that we face in out of wedlock births of violence, that somehow the control of that is in the hands of white America, and therefore until white people change, there's nothing that we can do. This sets up a terrible situation for this nation. The big crisis facing America is not racial. It is a moral and spiritual freefall that is consuming our children. The highest death rate among black families is homicide. Among Silicon Valley, the highest level of suicide, 6 times the national average. In Appalachia, there are prescription drugs. And so if we are to address this crisis that is causing our children to lack a sense of personal responsibility or value for their own life, they will take their own life or take someone else's. So in order to address that, we must come together and look beyond race and realize America is drowning because it's in a moral and spiritual freefall. None of us should be defined by the worst of what we were in the past, but we should be defined by what we want to become in the future, and that people are motivated to change when you give them a vision of victories that are possible, not constantly reminding them of injuries to be avoided.
What makes more sense?
So again, that right there, guys, I love that, guys, because of the fact that what Bob does, and again, this is Bob. This is Bob Woodson. Look him up, Bob Woodson. Look him up, guys. He's very rarely talked about, but he brings a perspective that we as black people need to hear, and also our white counterparts as well. How he outlaid our successes and how we should not be defined about what we of the ills happened to us, but by our successes, and how he eloquently said that under the guides of oppression, we flourished even more so than we're flourishing now. That is a bold statement. That is a bold statement. Bold. Does that make some sense, guys? I mean, I love what Bob said. Phenomenal what he said. Awesome. Bob, that's my dude, man. Bob. Now, guys, you know me. Let's talk about solutions, guys. All right, for the black community. All right. This is called the Countermove Podcast for a reason. So what's the Countermove? Well, guys, I'm going to detail real quickly because I looked up on ChatGPT just right now. And let me see if I can actually show it to you real quickly here. Will it let me do it? No. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Hold on one second. Let me show you guys what I'm actually looking at real quickly so you can actually see it. Right. I looked up black successes. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Oh, it's not gonna let me show it. Why not? What happened? Oh no. It didn't let me show it. Y'all, it's not letting me show it. Really? Stop sharing the screen. Okay, 1 second, guys. I got you. Don't you worry, your partner. No, I want the window. Give me the window. And let's share. There we go. Let's see if we can do it like this here. All right, guys. Here. This is ChatGPT, guys. All right. Here are the the question I asked was, draft for me black history successes from 1920s through today. Right? Look at this, guys. From 1920 to 1930s, flourishing culture and business. Highlights. We had the Harlem Renaissance, roughly 1979, 1937, became a landmark cultural explosion of African-American art, literature, music, and thought, especially in New York. We can go on and on. We can go on and on. 1940s, 1950s. Breaking barriers and legislative foundations. Jackie Robinson, we know who he is, right? Brown versus Burt. Now, here's the big thing about it. What I don't like up here, guys, is this here. There's no discussion about the Golden 13. There's no discussion about Sears Roebuck and Company, partnered with the black community and building 5,000 schools. There's no discussion talking about the successes that how we during that time frame went from a 3-year gap in education to a 6-month gap in education. That's success. How we built our own hotels, with our own means. None of this is up here. This happened during this time right here. It did during this time as well, right? The civil rights movement, legislative giants as well, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, political, social, and economic advances. It seems to be, guys, when it comes to our history, all they focus on is the social aspect of it. What about the economic investment we actually had on our own? What about that? What about that too? It's like, where is this history? Where is it? Where is it? So, guys, we're going to have to begin to. This is. This is, don't get me wrong. This is great, but my thing is, guys, like, where is the rest of the history? That's my question. Where is it at? What Bob was talking about in his presentation, guys, is that right there, guys. There's nothing there. So again, here's some solutions. I'm going to begin with the men because I'm a man. Fathers, we got to be fathers. We got to be present in the home. If we're married, our wives should be number one. Kids should number two. And the buck stops with us. We got to be the head. Right? Even though the civil rights movement kind of took us out of the home, let's go take back what's ours, the home. Okay? Number two, we have to begin to read a book, right? Not saying that we don't. Not saying we don't, right? But we have to, we're in the information age. So we have to make up time. Time, for instance, my mother and father didn't teach me anything about business credit, scaling businesses, nothing at all, because they didn't know how. So I had to read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I had to read John Maxwell books. I had to read Be Do Have by Precious Swaggerty. I had to read Grit by Logan Stout. I had The Grit Factor. I had to read other books, guys, to begin to learn a different way of thinking. When a Princeton professor says, if you want to have something from a black person, put it in the book, he wasn't lying. And for him to say that confidently lets me know something. We may not read, guys. We may not read. What I'm trying to say, guys, is we need to make more investments in ourselves with personal development. And once we begin to become better people, we can then pass it on to our kids, well, our wives, and our kids, and our kids, right? And begin to listen and understand how government works, finance works, right? Principles work. So that when we go into discussions with politicians, bank CEOs, business leaders, we know what we're talking about. Not saying that we don't, in some form or fashion, we do. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to say, if we're voting for one party, 93 at a clip of 93%, we're not reading books. Let me say it again. If we are voting just for one party alone at a 93% percentage, we're not reading books, because that same party has not passed anything for black people. They have not. Am I saying Republicans are your answer? No. But all I'm saying is, listen to other offers. Let them earn the vote. I gotta say it, guys, the Jewish community, guys, man, I think $1 stays in the Jewish community, I think, for 21 days. 21 days. I believe in the black community is 14 seconds. I may be wrong with those numbers, so if I'm wrong, please correct me in the chat, right? But look at the difference in training, in thinking, and execution. The Jewish community, 21 days, $1 stays in their community. Black community, 14 seconds. We have got to do better. Not our kids are depending upon us. Study the Rockefeller family and study the Vanderbilt family. Study those two families, guys, and you begin to see how the Rockefeller family progressed forward tremendously through business, finance, structure, principles, education. I'm not saying that is all good. I'm talking about from an execution standpoint, guys. Look how they progressed, and look how the Vanderbilt family almost lost it all. It's really simple. The Rockefeller family controls the education for America. Like this is crazy town. We can excel more. We really can. We can. We can honor the Michael Jordans. We can honor the Bob Johnsons. We can do all that. We could study them. Study. Hey man, hey Mike, how'd you go from basketball over to business? Hey, what was your mom thinking when she was negotiating the deal with Nike? How'd you get to that? I mean, I'm HBCU should be bringing in the Master P's, the Michael Jordans, the Bob Johnsons, the Bob Woodsons, all black business moguls. Hey, how'd you get from this to this? Bringing them in because why? The generation needs to get that type of thinking because under immense pressure, those gentlemen and women excelled. Kind of like what Bob said when it came to segregation and how we excelled in the face of segregation, in the face of oppression. By no means am I saying that we were not oppressed. Yes, we were. Yes. But we're in the information age, baby. You can get a whole book on YouTube for free. What books are you reading? What are you reading? What are you reading? You don't even have a basic education on the value of life insurance, real estate investing, buying stocks, buying bonds, ETFs, private schooling. All our solutions are coming from the government, which they trash. We got to do better, man, because our kids are depending upon us. Alonzo said he said we have to get into each other's business, other businesses. Besides putting our logo on a pre-made T-shirt and not even knowing the care instructions, opening chicken spots, barbershops, and nightclubs. Okay, I got you. He said also we need the dirty jobs. Who distributes toilet paper, trash bags, actual textiles? No more record labels. I agree, guys. Let me let you guys on a little bit of a secret real fast. As a private equity investor, do you know what private equity companies are actually investing in outside of AI companies? Boring businesses. What are boring businesses? HVAC companies, roofing companies, construction companies. Those are called boring businesses. Laundromats, apartment complexes, boring businesses. Notice outside of real estate, those are trade, textile companies. Those are trades, electrical companies, electricians. Those are trades. Plumbing companies. Private companies are buying them out at a 5, 10, 16, 15, 20x multiple of EBITDA. Yeah, what's EBITDA? Look it up. EBITDA. Look it up. You should know what that is. What? That's how businesses ran. Put it like this. Guys, we've been counseled as a people to begin business to make income. And yes, you're correct. Yes, you want to make money in business. Yes, you do. But more so, you want to be bankable. Let me give you an example real quickly. Everybody knows Amazon, big company. Guys, you don't understand that Amazon has a smaller yield that they make percentage than the influencers on Amazon. The influencers make a lot bigger yield or percentage than Amazon themselves. Okay? Facebook, Meta, did make not a damn profit before they got their first seed capital investment. Farmers Insurance, State Farm, you know those insurance companies, guys. You know they're in the business of not showing a profit. They have a mutual side and another side. Yes, they are in the business to not. They're in the business to make income, but not show income, but be bankable. That makes sense? They're in the business to make income, but not show income, and to be more so bankable. Because if they're bankable, they can always leverage their stocks. That's why you have buyback stuff like that as well. Their stocks. They can open up other businesses, banks. Stephon has a bank. Yes. They can do active trades. They can do lending. Yes, and life insurances, they lend on real estate. Yes, they do. At incredible rates. Yes, they do. Alonzo said he said, who makes the boxes for Amazon? We got to think outside of the box. He's correct. What problem can you solve that helps the masses? That'll make you a billionaire. What problem can you provide a solution to solve that can help the masses? That would change entire generations. Don't believe me. The Walton family, Walmart, KFC, Colonel Sanders, Ray Kroc, McDonald's. You even have Magic Johnson is the only black owner of a life insurance company. Only black man that actually owns one. That's a shame. Because the life insurance arena is so lucrative. If I had a shot, guys, I would buy a life insurance company. I would. Because they have the license of printing money. They print money. They print money. And if things go awry, guess who'll bail them out? The government. They're too big to fail. Think outside of the box, guys. We have a $1.8 trillion buying power. We do. Man, let's use it. Let's shock the world. No matter what comes against us. I say, watch me work. I may do a couple kind of podcasts on business models, on the top three business models that I think, right? What? You said technically North Carolina Mutual is still up for sale? Alonzo, direct message me. Let's talk about that. I'm serious. Like dead serious. Wow. Okay. North Carolina Mutual is still up for sale. Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. We like buying companies, guys. But guys, man, that's all I had for today. I hope this was educational. I had fun putting it together because it forced me to acknowledge some of my biases. Yes. I wonder why Magic didn't buy them. He bought Atlanta Life. I would say probably because Atlanta is kind of the black capital of the world, and there's a lot more money in Atlanta than with North Carolina Mutual. That's why I would say it. If I was him, I would have bought Atlanta Life too. I would have, because it makes sense. The base is there. The base is there. right? The base is there, and he has the name for the black community. It's Magic Johnson. Magic. But guys, thank you so much for your time. God bless you guys. Real quick, guys. Hey, I am, excuse me, giving away a free ebook, guys, and real estate, guys. You know, I'm a real estate developer, private equity investor, and I buy a lot of real estate by God's grace, guys. I always tell everybody you make money in real estate when you buy, not when you sell. Okay. The skill of buying real estate is really called distressed property investing, right? There's 7 different distressed categories, right? You need to learn what those categories are. It's detailed in this book. I'm giving away a free ebook. It is completely free. Don't want nothing from you at all, guys. Do one of the following. DM me the word real estate, right? Number 2, you can also scan on the QR code here on the screen right now. And number 3, you're going to go down to the show notes below and click on the link, and you can take a quick survey, right? And go download the ebook. It is free. Don't want nothing from you. If you want to change your trajectory, I'll be like this. 2026, I'm going to say after the Fed chairman is replaced, new one, and the governor, you're going to see a boom, I believe. A boom. Those that are ready are going to be immensely wealthy, right? In real estate, stock market, and buying businesses. Heed what I'm saying. So again, download this free ebook. It is free. What you waiting on? You got his time. Of course. Then lastly, guys, if you don't want to be in the real estate game, I'm rock with you. I got you guys. Hey, as a private equity investor, guys, there's a term called fintech. It stands for financial technology. And what's happening is this is where a lot of the money is flowing through because of AI, guys. You have companies like Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, insurance companies, also Farmers Insurance, State Farm Insurance. What they're doing is they are consolidating their brick and mortar places. You know, you'll see them, the branches or the agents' places. They want to eliminate those branches and eliminate those brick and mortar places. Why? And move that agent into an inbound call scenario, guys. And what they want to do is that's going to save on the operations budget as well for them as well. Brings their cost of doing business down, which increases their profitability, right? What they're doing is they're giving, because of this shift, it allows for people like you and I to begin a side hustle, a business offering those type of services, guys. Let me give you an example. What if you could actually make up to 4% per month on someone making the mortgage payment, paying car insurance, paying rental insurance, paying a car loan, getting a home loan, an investment loan, paying getting a homeowner's insurance, electricity, natural gas. Do you see health insurance? Right? Do you see what's going on, guys? Because of that shift, it's opened up a side hustle opportunity for people like you and I, guys. Well, so if you know what this is, again, it is free. It is free, guys. This information. DM me the word mentor, right? Or scan the QR code right there on the screen or below, guys, in the show notes. Real simple. Click on the link, guys, and go see this business model. It's free information. Free. Right? You ain't got nothing but time. Nothing but time. I see you, brother. Oh, so what you're saying is you're saying that it was correction, magic and Echo Trust took over most of the policies from he is buying up all the black owned insurance. Okay. Magic killing the game. Magic killing the game. He is killing the game, guys. Oh, if you want to ask me a question, there's an app called Connect that I am on. A good friend of mine actually does this. His name is Patrick David. It's called Connect. If you want to direct message me and get my undivided attention, do a video call with me. Ask me any questions. Give me to respond video conference. It's real simple, guys. You can send on this QR code on the screen or the show notes below, guys. Click on the link, guys, and it comes directly to me, and I'm the one responding. Ask me anything about business, finance, real estate, private equity, you name it. What's a good business model for you? I answer any questions you may have. Marriage, easy, guys. It's right there, guys. Scan on the QR code. It's right there, guys. Well, guys, man, that's all I have for today, man. Thank you so much for your time. And lastly, I'm sorry, I always forget this all the time. Forgive me, guys. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. CST, we do Real Estate Friday Live with Cliff and I, guys, man. We have a good little time, guys, every Friday at, man, come on. What is going on with my colors today, guys? I'm sorry, guys. My colors are orange, white, and black. There we go. All right, guys. We do Real Estate Friday Live. We're actually changing the name to the Investor's Edge. The Investor's Edge for real estate and private equity, guys. Every Friday we do this podcast on that one, guys, on the same channel, guys. Here is a sneak peek of what you'll end up hearing on Real Estate Friday Live, which is going to be called Investor's Edge. Here we go. What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
Again, guys, that is Real Estate Friday Live, or named The Investor's Edge. Guys, we'll see y'all tomorrow at 5 p.m. CST. Every single Friday, come kick it with Cliff and your partner. Guys, that's all I have for today, guys. You know I ended every single time. Before you leave, baby, right, you can. You see that thing, baby. Take a picture for your mom and them. All right, Friday. God bless you guys. See you tomorrow, guys. All right, y'all. Peace. What if you could help families lower their bills and get paid for it? Healthcare premiums, insurance rates, and loan interest just keep climbing higher. And most people just keep paying without knowing that there's a better way. We use a fintech platform that connects people to lower healthcare costs, competitive auto and home insurance, better loan products, higher yield bank deposits, and even ways to cut energy costs, all in one place. It's the same technology that banks and big corporations use currently. But now entrepreneurs like us can leverage this technology to build an income stream and help others save. Take our 30-second assessment to see if this business model is a fit for you. Click on the link, watch the short video after, and let's explore what's possible. My whole thing is, one thing I hear a lot of the times when it comes to anybody in real estate is, I don't have the money or the credit or the time or the intellectual property. And I said, okay, no problem. I have the money, have the credit, have the relationships. I'll teach you how to locate a good deal, right? Buy below wholesale.
I love that.
And once I teach you that, right, I'll bring me the deal. I help you underwrite the deal, which is fine. I'll even fund the transaction for you as well. So there's no excuses on the table at all. That's why we call that the cash flow club, period. So what happens is people always ask me all the time, Dale, can you train me? Well, I don't have the time to do that. But what if I set up a platform for it to where you get on-demand training? Anytime you want to, because the training you may need may be after you get off work, early in the morning, during the day. You just log into your account and get the same training as if I'm sitting there one-on-one. We're talking about our attorneys, our general contractors, our appraisers, as well as me, talking about how to structure your business, how to put together what they call a power team. A power team is very important. How to put a deal together, right, and buy it at the right price point. How to market. There's one technique that people don't understand, that you can actually get a list of properties that from your city for free.
Whoa. So walk me through that. Like, you can physically get buildings or homes or properties available for free?
Yeah, I'll send you guys the bill in the mail. It's real simple. What you can do is you can actually call down to your city and ask for the violations division. What happens is you say, hey, I want to see what homes in our city actually have violations. What are violations? High grass, no paint, vacant. You have boards on there. Those are actually violations that the city, or citation that the city has actually levied against that property.
they'll give you that list for free. It may be a little bit of a fee, maybe $100.
Sure.
But it is what it is. Then what you do is you actually you can contact those sellers of those properties one-on-one.
Wow, and that's how you make your money. That's one way. That's one way.
If you'd like to learn how successful real estate investors make money when they acquire real estate, but not when they sell it, click on the link below, swipe up, DM me the word real estate to download our free ebook, Distressed Property Investing. The blueprint is in the ebook. Stay blessed. I'll let your partner and download the ebook today.